Good morning, everybody. It's Dipankar Maiti, Director, National Rice Research Institute. I just got one phone call from our honorable speaker that he'll be joining in 10 minutes. So please bear with us.
Hmm? will
good morning, everyone. This is from another side, and we apologize for this inconvenience. You can see his office has already joined, but Swamiji is yet to join us. So he will soon join within a few minutes. So once he joins, we immediately start the program. So thank you for your patience.
Within 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes. Okay, okay, okay. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Hello, everyone. I was just informed from his office that he will be joining in 5 minutes.
सांत्रा जी कैसे हो? डॉक्टर सांत्रा?
हाँ सर, ठीक हूँ सर। हाउ आर यू?
A very good morning, Swamiji. And
Namaskar, I'm sorry for being late.
Namaskar.
I'm sorry I'm late. There is just one more meeting which ended just now.
Sir, Maharaj, can we start now?
Yeah, sure.
Dr. Koto, please.
yes, sir. Respected Swami Atma Priyanandaji, Pro Chancellor Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute, Kolkata, Dr. Dipankar Maiti, Director NRRI, all head of the divisions, scientists and personnel from NRRI and other ICAR institutes. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning and warm welcome to today's Platinum Jubilee lecture. As per the formality, I would brief you about the institute and the lecture series. As you know, if we could recollect the past, the horrible year 1943, we witnessed the suffering from the Great Bengal Famine. The famine caused around 2.5 million deaths due to starvation. One of the causes of the famine was identified as the devastating rice fungus that led to serious shortage of rice grain in the Bengal province. Government of India realized the importance of rice in the area and decided to intensify research on all aspects of rice crop. As a result, government established the Central Rice Research Institute on April 23, 1946. I must mention here that Central Rice Research Institute has been renamed as National Rice Research Institute in the recent past. Dr. K. Ramaiah, who was an eminent rice breeder, was its founder director. Since then, the institute has been tirelessly working on all researchable aspects of rice crop and has made significant contributions towards enriching the rice science and ensuring food security of the country. The seeds of the Green Revolution were first sown at CRRI field and spread to the rest of the country. Till now, the Institute has released 148 varieties, developed several crop production technologies, ways to safeguard rice from disease and pest, and continuously providing assistance to the rice farmers. NRRI has a total of 5 divisions: Crop Improvement Division, Crop Production Division, Crop Protection, Crop Physiology and Biochemistry, and Social Science Division. We also have 3 regional research stations located at Assam, Jharkhand, and Andhra Pradesh. Additionally, 2 Krishi Vigyan Kendras are also managed by National Rice Research Institute. The seed was shown in 1946, and we are completing 75 years of glorious presence this year, 2021. As part of the long celebrations, NRRI is also organizing Platinum Jubilee Lecture Series. Dr. Trilochan Mohapatra, who is the current Director General, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, has sent us his best wishes for the lecture series. For your information, Swamiji, Dr. Trilochan Mohapatra was also acted as a former director of this institute. These lectures are to be delivered by outstanding personalities of the country and abroad. First lecture has been delivered by a fellow of Royal Society, Professor Pete Smith from UK. Today we are here for the second lecture. We are immensely glad to have with us Swami Atma Priyananda Ji, who is the Pro-Chancellor of Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute, Kolkata. As we know, Ramakrishna Mission, a global organization working for the all-round welfare of the world, irrespective of any bias of nationality, gender, religion, color, and creed. A PhD in the theoretical physics, Swami Atma Priyananda Ji has decided to devote his life for spiritual liberation combined with service to humanity inspired by Swami Vivekananda. He tirelessly visits different places within India and outside of India for the cause of world peace and harmony and interfaith dialogue. Swamiji would talk today on a very relevant topic for all of us. Entitled topic is Scientific Principles with Philosophical Underpinnings Relevant to Societal Development. Not taking further time, I would like to request Director NRRI Dr. Dipankar Maiti to preside over the meeting. And I request sir to formally welcome and introduce the speaker to the audience. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kutub. A very good morning to one and all. Reverend Swami Atmapiyananda Maharaj, the Pro-Vice Chancellor of Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute, deemed to be University in West Bengal, and Director Standing Academic and Accreditation Committee. The August gathering on this virtual platform, senior officials from ICAR headquarters, my colleagues of National Rice Research Institute and other institutions, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to this online lecture by Swami Atmapiyananda Maharaj. It is indeed my honor and proud privilege to get the opportunity to introduce a great personality like Swami Atmapiyananda Maharaj. It is really a very hard task for me also to introduce a personality like him in a very short time of allotted 5 minutes or so, who himself is multivarious faculties by his own and is involved in so many activities, including service to the God through service to the mankind. It is also relevant to mention, Maharajji, that our Honorable Secretary Dare and Director General ICAR, Dr. Trilochan Mahapatra, expressed through email his regret for his inability to attend today's lecture session due to some pressing official preoccupation, which he otherwise was very eager to listen. Dr. Mahapatra, however, has conveyed his best wishes for success of today's event. Swami Atmapiyananda Maharaj had his initial education on theoretical physics with works on elementary particle theory for his PhD from University of Madras, followed by his spiritual initiation as disciple of Sri Ramakrishna Vivekananda ideology in the year 1978 when he joined Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission headquarters, Belur, as a monk. After that, he served the Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational Research Institute as teacher for 25 years, then became principal and served as vice chancellor for 15 years in the university, which is a multi-campus university with social commitment and devoted to a variety of unique areas. Beside this, he has also expertise on Yoga Vedanta vis-a-vis modern science, education for character building, Ramakrishna Vivekananda thought in the context of present-day challenges. He also co-chairs the Religions for Peace Organization, New York, USA. He is member of the Advisory Council of Prayer and Action for Children, with Secretariat in New York, USA. He is also a member of the Elijah Board of World Religions Leaders, an arm of Elijah Interfaith Institute, a global organization working for religious harmony and peace. He has a large number of publications on physics and also on spiritual subjects. He delivered an innumerable number of invited talks and lectures. And he also traveled across the world, as for example, during 2008 and 2019, he made 48 trips to abroad and 350 trips within India to preach the message of Yoga Vedanta. So with this, I request Swami Atmapiyananda Maharaj Ji to deliver his lecture on the topic he himself decided, that is scientific principles with philosophical underpinnings relevant to societal development. Thank you, and over to you, Swamiji.
How much time do we have?
You can take your time, Maharaj.
No, please tell me, because you have, what is the next program you have?
How much time do you require? I think it's okay for us.
See, in such occasions, I remember an interesting joke which happened when I first visited Thailand, Bangkok. There was a global conference of vice chancellors. The president was the Oxford University chancellor, an extremely witty person, who said, in the beginning, I went to an international conference and asked the audience, how long should I speak? They said in one voice, sir, you are a great scholar, you have come only for us. Please speak as long as you like and as long as you can, but we are leaving after half an hour. So, that shouldn't happen to me. So I will begin, as I normally do, traditionally, with what is known as the Shanti mantra in Sanskrit. Shanti mantras are peace chants recited at the beginning and end of any enterprise relating to education and spiritual learning between the teacher and the disciple. This particular Shanti mantra is well known. It occurs in the Katha Upanishad, which is part of Krishna Yajurveda. I will chant the original in Sanskrit and give a very brief translation into English based on the commentary of Bhagavan Bhashyakara, Sri Shankaracharya. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. May the Supreme Being protect us both, the teacher and the disciple, by revealing to us the true nature of knowledge. May the Supreme Being protect us both, the teacher and the disciple, by revealing to us the application of that knowledge. May we both, the teacher and the disciple, strive together for the acquisition of knowledge. May the knowledge and wisdom that we acquire be effective and illuminative. May there be no disharmony between us. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om, that existence. I'm very happy and honored to have been called upon to deliver this talk, the Platinum Jubilee online lecture of this famous institute under Indian Council of Agricultural Research, National Rice Research Institute in Orissa. I have been there also years ago, and I have titled, because most of you are agricultural scientists, I thought it would be proper to have a talk which is based upon science as well as philosophy, but both science and philosophy should contribute to social welfare and development. Whether it is science or religion or philosophy or any subject, it centers upon man and the welfare of humanity is a prime concern of all these disciplines of knowledge. In our scriptures, therefore, the highest concern of a man of spiritual realization is said to be Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. That means he is deeply concerned about the hita, the welfare of all beings, not only human beings, subhuman beings, animals, plants, the environment, the oceans, the rivers, the trees, plantation, everything. And therefore, in India, we had very, very deep and passionate concern for environment. Agriculture, as you know, was very, very highly developed in India because agriculture was concerned about the growth of plants. Our present revered president of the Ramakrishna order, Swami Vivekananda ji, used to be extremely interested in gardening, in agriculture. I used to ask him once, why are you so passionate about gardening and agriculture? He smiled and said, I am interested in anything that grows. That's a very profound statement. When you see something growing, you feel so happy about it. When you see a child born and the child slowly grows, becomes a toddler, crawls on its fours, learns to speak, and the parents and the entire society rejoice at the growth of this child. Objects which are lifeless, inanimate objects, don't grow. They stay where they are, they stagnate, and nothing new happens. But living beings, human beings, plants, environmental members of the entire human community, all of them grow. In the growth, there is tremendous joy and satisfaction. So ancients, therefore, found there is so much of joy and bliss in the entire nature. And therefore, they embraced the whole of nature as one whole, as part of their own existence. Just like we feel happy meeting our children and relatives or society, in exactly the same way, the entire nature is also part of our family. And as soon as a child in the Hindu religion gets up in the morning, he is taught by his parents, by his teacher, by his guru, to bow down to the sun, rising sun, and pray, chant the Gayatri mantra. And meditate upon the divine light of the sun, which is illumining my heart. The sun is a great mystery which gives light and heat to the world. You bow down before the tree, you worship nature, the rivers, the plants, and some other faith people criticize the Hindu religion as being idolatry. It is not idolatry. It is seeing the divine presence, the vibrant face of God and all that exists in nature. The modern language we may say, it is the signature of God. God has put his signature on the entire nature. When the sun rises, God signs there, I am here in the sun. See me in the sun and worship me. When the gentle breeze is blowing, you see the warmth of the air and the gentleness of the breeze, and you see God's signature. So God is signed everywhere. In the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna calls this as his Vibhuti. Vibhuti means glory. My glory is present everywhere. So wherever you see the glory of God, his signature, his divine smiling face. Therefore they said, I see joy everywhere. There's a joy in the breeze of the air that is blowing. And there is joy in the water bodies, the rivers and the oceans. There is joy in the plantation. There is joy in the rising sun. There is joy in the heavens and the sky. And there is joy in the dust of this earth. And there is so much of joy and bliss everywhere. This is a very famous Shanti mantra with which I begin. Madhuvatarayate madhuksharanti sandhava madhvirna santoshadhi madhunaktamutoshasi madhumatparthivakam rajaha madhujjaurastunah pita madhumanno vanaspatir madhumagam astu surya madhvirgao bhavantunah om madhu om madhu om madhu. There's madhu and joy everywhere, and therefore the great Indian poets, including the latest poet of the modern times, the famous world poet Vishwa Kavi Rabindranath always used to sing about Ananda. The famous statement in the Mundaka Upanishad, which inspired Devendranath Tagore, Ananda Rupam Amritam Yad Vihati. Ananda and Amrita, everywhere you see the shining. So these are not mere sentiments. These are not mere emotional outbursts. These are based on a clear vision of truth which manifests as beauty and goodness. Satyam, Sundaram, Shivam. These are three attributes of the supreme truth of reality. And the resplendent beauty and the divine wisdom which you see everywhere shows you the face of God. These are based on certain scientific principles which also have philosophical underpinnings, and they ultimately contribute to societal development, social enrichment, and welfare. So the next. I begin with a quote by Swami Vivekananda, who is a pioneer in this. As you know, Vivekananda went to preach in the West in 1893, the famous Chicago Parliament of Religions. At that time, India was a slave country, and Hindus were considered hopeless idolaters, full of superstitions, worshipping the trees and the mountains and snakes, and uneducated, barbaric heathens. From this land comes a lad, hardly 29 years old, taking on the richest elite of the modern world, the Western world of those days. And he had to preach the Hindu ideas, vast as they are, spread over millennia of research in the inward consciousness, and coming out with gems in the form of Upanishads and the Vedas. It's a highly complex system developed by the best minds in India for thousands of years and expressed in esoteric language in Sanskrit to make them understood by the modern minds in English was an extremely difficult task, which Swami Vivekananda describes in such a poetic language in one of the letters which he wrote. To put the Hindu ideas into English and then make out of dry philosophy, intricate mythology, and pure startling psychology, a religion which shall be easy, simple, popular, and at the same time meet the requirement of the highest minds is a task only those can understand who have attempted it. The dry, abstract Advaita must become living, poetic in everyday life. Out of hopelessly intricate mythology must come concrete moral forms. And out of bewildering yogism must come the most scientific and practical psychology. And all this must be put in a form so that a child may grasp it. That is my life's work. This is a remarkable statement by a Hindu about the Hindu religion And the difficulty in communicating the principles of such a vast and complex system of philosophy and religion to people who are completely uninitiated. Not only that, who are biased, prejudiced, and have nothing but contempt for all that is there in the Vedas and the Upanishads. And Swami Vivekananda, as you know, was largely successful in delivering the message of the ancient Hindu wisdom. And he was a pioneer who said, science and religion will meet and shake hands. There was a time, due to Christian influence, that religion and science are completely different and poles apart. As it is said, Kipling, it was who said, the East is East and the West is West, the twain shall never meet. Science is science and religion is religion and the twain shall never meet. That was the general conception. That was because Christianity was full of doctrines and dogmas and stories and mythologies, which we also have in Hinduism. We call the Puranas. But the church did not preach about the philosophical principles of Christianity, which are found in the Bible. And what happened was, people normally lost faith in the ancient beliefs which are there in the Bible. Vivekananda also said, under the deadly blows of modern scientific discoveries, of the church are getting pulverized like pieces of porcelain. So the modern science has discovered so many secrets of nature which are in tune with the modern scientific discoveries, not in terms of dogmas or rituals or stories in the mythology, but as fundamental principles, universal principles which are timeless. Swamiji therefore said, in one pictures in Jnana
ये
Yoga,
प्रज्ञा मैडम को बुलाना जरा.
Dr. Beena Gupta, please mute your audio.
on one of his lectures in Jnana Yoga, Swami Vivekananda said, science and religion will meet and shake hands. Poetry and philosophy will become friends. This will be the religion of the future, and if we can work it out, we may be sure that it will be for all times and for all peoples. This is the only way that will prove acceptable to modern science, for it has almost come to it. Now, what are the common principles in the development of scientific and philosophical thought? There are three fundamental common principles on which both science and philosophy are based. One, the classification principle. Two, the generalization principle. And three, the unification principle. The progress of human knowledge, both in science and philosophy, including spiritual wisdom, is through the above three principles. In the modern day, they are reflected in the following. The classification principle is now pursued in computer science as a principle of pattern recognition. CVPR is a very vibrant department as a part of computer science department in several famous institutes. CVPR, computer vision, and pattern recognition. Classification means, though a large ensemble exists, is it possible for you to classify this large group based upon certain patterns? And our ancients were great classifiers. Those of you who are exposed to some simple chemistry, all of us have been, in school at least, know about the periodic table of elements. When more than 90 elements came to be discovered, the human mind thought that there can't be any chaos in these elements. There has to be a systematic order. Can these be classified according to certain principles? The classification principle resulted in the periodic table of elements, thanks to the efforts of, we know, Loser, Mayer, and Mendeleev. There are rows and columns, the periods, and the elements are put in the periodic table based on a fundamental principle which is well known, which is not the periodic law. Every element in the periodic table reacts with every other element in such a way as to reach the inert gas configuration nearest to it in the periodic table. This is a highly philosophical principle, although this is chemistry, because the entire development of science is based upon certain fundamental philosophical principles. Human beings cannot live without philosophy. Every one of us has a certain philosophy. Even cats and dogs perhaps have their own philosophy, we do not know. No living being can live without a philosophy. So the discovery of the philosophy and classifying them according to certain principles is what human thought has done over the millennia. And nothing in the world is more advanced than ancient Indian wisdom in this respect of the rishis and the munis. Why an inert gas? Because the inert gas is something which doesn't interact with anything else, non-reactive to the helium, neon, and so on. And when you don't interact and react at all, you are at peace. The coronavirus has shown us during the lockdown, you can't go out, you can't meet people, you can't shake hands, you can't hug. All that you can do is go on talking over the mobile phone or the video call. But most of the time you're isolated, forcing you into looking within. And when you do not react, when you don't interact, you're always peaceful. That is a fundamental scientific principle which all of us know. The state of stability is the state of least energy state. A least energy state is a state of stability. When you differentiate once, you get zero. Differentiate twice, if it is negative, then you know that is the most stable state. Stability comes from non-reaction. In human life, if you know not to react, not to get angry, not immediately burst out, then you are most peaceful. This is the periodic table, periodic law. Then human beings ask, can certain fundamental principles in life be classified? For example, how many kinds of sorrow a human being has? Suppose I ask you, are you in sorrow? Dukkha? Oh, how many kinds of sorrow I have. From morning till night, I'm so much in sorrow. Can you classify sorrow? This is what the ancient people did. Classify sorrow into three groups, three classes. one kind of sorrow coming from your mind and body. My body is ill, I have a toothache, I have a stomachache, I have a backache, I am ill, I am afflicted with fever, physical ailment, and mental stress. That which comes from the mind and the body are called adibhutika, adhyatmika dukkha. Then you can have a dukkha coming from beings. Now we have the coronavirus. You can have ants in your kitchen, mosquitoes, so many different types of small and big animals, cats and rats and tigers. These are called adibhutika dukkha, and human beings, of course. Human beings are also cause of great sorrow to most of us. And the third is sorrow which comes from causes which are beyond us. Natural calamities, tsunami, floods, which happened in Uttarakhand recently. But some of the environmental activists would make you believe this is also because human beings messed up with nature, whatever. Suddenly there is a natural calamity, an earthquake, a tsunami, a super cyclone. These are called adidaivika dukkha. So adhyatmika, adibhutika, adidaivika dukkha, three kinds of sorrow. You can't find any sorrow which cannot be put in any of these three classes. Now, how many kinds of aspirations that a human being has? What exactly do you want? How many wants do you have in life? You will say, oh, innumerable wants. I want so many things. Can you classify? The ancients said it can be classified into four. One is kamana, kama. So many desires I have. To fulfill the desires, I need money. So, artha, money. But my fulfillment of my desire should not come into conflict with your fulfillment of your desire. So there should be a principle by which there should be non-overlap, conflict-free fulfillment principle. This principle is called dharma. Dharma is not religion at all. It is much vaster than that. It is a principle of sacrifice by which the individual sacrifices for the common good. The mother sacrifices for the children, the family sacrifices for the society sacrifices for the country sacrifices for the welfare of the whole world. So every point, everybody needs to sacrifice the self-interest for collective welfare and good. They're called dharma. After you're finished with dharma, artha, and moksha, kama, you ask certain fundamental questions about life and existence. Where have I come from? Where do I go? What is the purpose of human life? And so on. This is called the moksha. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. These are the four purusharthas. So classify human aspiration. The second principle is generalizations. This is the principle by which science has made tremendous progress. The simplest example which is given is that of the theory of gravitation, discovered by Sir Isaac Newton. When Newton saw an apple was falling, he did not consider this as an isolated incident, but he wanted to find out whether this is related to a general universal principle. As Swami Vivekananda says, a particular should be referred to the general, general to the more general to the most general, and the universal. So the generalization principle leads to the discovery of certain universal laws. The universal law of gravitation, and the explanation of anything should come from within the system and not from without. You do not say that this happens because of some mysterious ghost or God or somebody doing something there, but there should be a fundamental cause from within the system which makes it happen. This was the general theory of relativity by Einstein, which is also the theory of gravitation. When Newton said there's a mysterious force or a tug pulling one object towards itself, Einstein said, no, it is not a mysterious tug or a pull. It is a fundamental nature of space-time curvature. Space-time is curved so that two objects appear to be coming together. You have a rod like this, and two balls are hung from two sides. If you now bend this rod, then these two appear to be coming together. Does not mean they are attracting each other. It means the curvature itself makes them appear to be coming together. This is a universal law, which is the theory of general relativity due to Einstein. So the generalization principle leads you to the discovery of certain universal law. The third is the unification principle. Swami Vivekananda said famously, science is the search after unity. Human mind cannot rest content with the multiplicity. It seeks what is the fundamental basis on which the multiplicity rests. Is there a universal principle which can unify all this? Einstein's search after the unified field theory and the present superstring theorists searching for the theory of everything TOE, these are searches for unification. All the various particles of nature discovered, can all of them be considered as the manifestation of one fundamental particle with different characteristics? You again and again want to go towards unity, towards oneness, because oneness alone satisfies the human mind. And in oneness, there is peace, there is rest, there is joy. Our ancients knew this long ago and asked a fundamental question. So the next slide. It's called Eka Vijnanena Sarvam Vijnanam. Quest for unity. Kaspannu Bhagavo Vijnate Sarvamidam Vijnatam Bhavatiti. This is in Chandaka Upanishad and Mundaka Upanishad. Ekena Sarvam Vijnanam Syat. Chandaka Upanishad. Kaspannu Bhagavo Vijnate Sarvamidam Vijnatam Bhavatiti. Mundaka Upanishad. Ekena, by knowing one, Sarvam Vijnatam Syat, everything is known. The simplest example which is given is, you make ornaments of the gold. You make a gold earring, a gold bangles, a gold necklace, and so on. But if you consider them as necklaces and rings and bracelets and bangles, they appear to be different, but all of them are made of the same gold. As gold, they are one. So where does difference come from? Difference comes from the name and the form. The form of a bangle and the name bangle which is associated with this makes it appear to be different from the form of a necklace and the name necklace associated with this necklace. If the names and forms are eliminated, what you have is only gold. Another example which is given, so many objects and images are made out of clay or mud. During the puja, for example, the Durga puja, you have an image of Durga, image of Ganesha, image of Kartikeya, image of Lakshmi, image of Saraswati, image of Mahishasura, as you know. But on the 10th day, Dashami, you immerse these images in the waters of the Ganges. If somebody tells you, oh, its immersion is over, can you go and bring me Durga mud or Ganesha mud? Can you do that? The whole thing is dissolved into mud, into clay. So there is no Durga clay or Ganesha clay, there is only clay. So what makes the difference? The name and the form. So we discovered long ago, millions of years ago, that if you eliminate name and form, what remains is only the substance. In exactly the same way, entire world is interpenetrated, otaprota, with consciousness, Chaitanya. What distinguishes one object from the other is how it is packaged and it is conditioned, as it were, by name and form. And this quest for oneness gives you the idea of the quest for interconnectedness. Interconnectedness means oneness of existence, solidarity of the universe. The word used in the Upanishad is otaprota. Otaprota is a very difficult word to translate. Otaprota means interpenetrating, completely soaked, percolating, just like water from the sky in the form of rain falls on mud, you get muddy water. Suppose you are asked from muddy water, can you separate the mud and the water? You can't. Because the water has entered so deeply into the mud, it is otaprota. It becomes just one mass of mud. So consciousness has interpenetrated the whole thing, and oneness of existence gives you interconnectedness. All of us are connected with one another. This internet, which has made it possible for us to communicate today in this Platinum Jubilee online lecture, is a classic, living, practical, useful example of interconnectedness. Interconnectedness is related to interdependence. All of us are interdependent. Let us not think for a moment that we are independent. We are independent in the sense, but we depend on one another. Kasmin khalu otascha protascheti, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, akshare sarvasyapi otaprota bhavaha, Shankara's commentary. In the Akshara Brahman, in the infinite, everything is otaprota. Whole thing is connected. This quest for interconnectedness, which is now called World Wide Web, WWW. All of us know this. We call this internet. The World Wide Web, in which all of us exist as various components. This quest for interconnectedness is a fundamental quest of human knowledge. The third quest is the quest for the infinite. This is a fundamental urge of the human mind. You can't be satisfied with that which is small and limited. You have to ask, what is that which is infinite, which can satisfy me? The famous statement in the Chandogya Upanishad, well known and oft quoted, Yo vai bhuma tat sukham na alpe sukham asti. Bhuma means that is infinite, big. That alone is a source of joy and happiness. Alpe, that which is small, there is no sukha. Swami Vivekananda derived the entire philosophy and the rationale for human welfare, living together with all the human beings in joy and happiness, unselfish service, from this one principle of interconnectedness and quest for the infinite. He said, all expansion is life, all contraction is death. Love is all expansion, selfishness is all contraction. Therefore, love is the only law of life. Such a simple formula. If you want to live happily, you have to broaden out, expand, seek the infinite. Don't confine yourself to small things. Don't say me, I, and get into a small cocoon like the moths or the insect, which simply contracts itself into a cocoon, ultimately dies. Therefore, the name of the infinite, God, Brahman, is called Ananta. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Taittiriya Upanishad. Brahman, the supreme being, what is the nature? It is truth, it is knowledge, it is Ananta. It is Bhuma Vijijnasa, the inquiry into the Bhuma which is infinite. So what is truth? Truth is something which does not change. When we say something is untrue, what does untruth means? It is changing. You're telling a lie. This is mithya. What does it mean? That means you're changing your position. Yesterday you were there and tomorrow you are here. We are seeing it every day happening. Suddenly you change. So when you change, you are not being truthful. Truth is something which does not change. What is change? Look at the scientific thinking of our ancients. Change takes place in space and in time. When I go from Calcutta to Delhi, there's a change of place. From Cuttack, if I go to Bhubaneswar, there's change of place. And in time also I can change. I'm seeing you for 40 years, you've changed so much. We become old, your hair becomes gray, your teeth have fallen down. There's change in time. So that which changes will change in time or in place. Now, that which is not changing, which is truth, will therefore be timeless and beyond space. Deshatita and Kalatita, we call it in Sanskrit, beyond space, beyond time. And that which is beyond space and beyond time should be infinite. Because only that which is finite can be within space and within time. That which is beyond space and beyond time has to be infinite. If it is infinite, it has to be one. Why? If there are two infinities, one will limit the other, both will become finite. So it has to be one. If it is to be one, it has to be me. Why? Because apart from me, there will be two. And therefore, I am that infinite existence. This is called the Mahavakya in the Upanishad. Aham Brahmasmi, Tat Tvamasi, Prajnanam Brahma, Ayamatma Brahma. These are called four Mahavakyas from the four Vedas. So the quest for the infinite is something which is very, very fundamental. You want to expand and expand and expand. You are not satisfied with that which is small. Now these four quests, quest for unity, quest for interconnectedness, quest for the infinite, and the quest for great power, Mahashakti. You may talk about Brahman, you may talk about truth, you can talk about the infinite, but in nature, in the finite nature, you see so much of activity going on. All this activity, according to Vedanta, the Indian scriptures and the Upanishads, all this take place because of Mahashakti, which is called Prakriti or nature, which is Brahma Shakti. This is called Kali, this is called Durga, this is called Shakti, this is called a female goddess. Now the quest for this great power is what impels, inspires the scientist to go deep and find out what is the power which moves all this. It's called Brahma Shakti, which is the Upanishads mentioned, the Kenu Upanishad, for example, and the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the Shankara's Bhashya, which I have quoted here, the commentary of Bhashyakara Bhagavan Sri Shankara, Brahma Shaktya Adhishthidhanam hi Chakshuradinam Darshanadi Samartham. The eye and the ear and all the various senses. The eye is able to see, the ear is able to hear, the tongue is able to taste, and the nose is able to smell, and the skin is able to feel the touch sensation. All this is taking place because of the samarthya, the power, the capacity, the empowerment comes from Brahma Shakti. Swatah kashtaloshta samanihi tani chaitanya atmajyoti shunyani. The chaitanya atmajyoti is withdrawn. They simply become like dull, dead wood or a piece of steel, an inanimate object. Keno Upanishad, they raise this question. Keneshidam padati preshidam manah kena prana prasama priti yukta keneshitam vachamimam vadanti chakshusrotram gaudevo yunakti. What is that devata? What is the luminous being who is impelling us to do all this? What is the power which the eye is able to see, the ear is able to hear, mind is able to think? Is it the eye which sees or some power is impelling it? Then they found the answer and put it in a very dramatic way. It is not the eye which sees, the eye of the eye, the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso manoyat achoha vacham savu pranasya prana chakshusha chaksharati muchyadhira vedyasma loka damrta bhavanti. A great discovery. There's great power which is impelling all this, and the power is called the Brahma Shakti. This is the fourth quest of human mind. So these four quests are the driving forces in society today for development and prosperity of society, transformation of society, so that all human beings and all the living beings, the entire environment can be peaceful and joyful. Madhuvataritayate, madhuksharanti, sindhavaha, etc., which I chanted. The quest for unity is the basis of harmony and love. Why should I not harm you? Why should I not injure you? Why should I not hate you? Because in that injury, I am injuring myself. I am you. I am the world and the world is me. Atmopamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham va idiva dukkham sayogi paramo mataha. Bhagavad Gita. A person who can look upon everything else in the universe as his own self. Atmopamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna, then he is a supreme yogi. This is called the golden rule in all religions. The Bible, Jesus the Christ said, do unto others as you would like others to do unto you. This principle runs across all the religions. The principle of interconnectedness. I see myself everywhere. By harming others, by injuring others, I am injuring myself. This is the fundamental basis of ethics and morality. Swami Vivekananda discovered ethics and morality which is independent of any religious command, independent of God, religion, but simply based upon the scientific principle of unity of all existence. This is the basis of love and harmony. The quest for interconnectedness, oneness of existence, the basis of interdependence. We are dependent on one another. If I destroy you, I destroy myself because I depend on you for my existence. The famous statement by Albert Einstein, once again, whom I am tempted to quote again and again. He said, 100 times a day I remind myself that my happiness depends on the welfare of others, contribution from others, living and dead, and I should give and contribute in the same measure as I have received and am still receiving. So many hundreds of thousands of people are contributing to my welfare. In the morning when I sit for food, hot rice and food are being offered on my plate. You are a rice institute. You research in rice. Hundreds of scientists have been researching on rice for so many years. So many varieties are being brought out. And that rice is harvested by somebody somewhere, been picked up by somewhere, packaged by somebody, it is being transported by somebody and cooked by somebody, and I get this rice. How many hundreds of people have contributed to this? So when I begin my food, eating my food, you close your eyes for a second, raise your heart in prayer and thankfulness and say, oh, invisible hundreds of people have contributed to this hot food I am getting. Thank you so much. Can't you say this? This is religion. This is meditation. This is science. Be aware that you are dependent on hundreds of thousands of people, humans and subhumans and animals and plants who are around you. When you pollute the air, you are polluting, you are spoiling yourself, which the coronavirus has taught us. Let us wake up call to humanity. Don't exploit nature beyond a point. Nature will come back as a nemesis, catch your throat, give you tight slaps on your cheeks and make you behave. Swami Vivekananda said, man wants to hold with clenched fists. This is mine, I will not give up. Nature will put her hands upon his throat and make the fist open. So give gladly, give willingly. Only in giving that you receive. Only in sharing that you are fulfilled. This is called the principle of yajna. You go round and round. And the quest for the infinite, the base of expansive awareness, leading to all-encompassing compassion. The feeling of compassion, feeling of love, feeling of expansion comes from this. And the great power manifesting in the universe is the basis of strength, fearlessness, righteous courage, indomitable energy and enthusiasm. Swami Vivekananda therefore said, the name of the supreme truth, reality, Brahman is fearlessness. He says, Abhayam vai Brahma. The name of Brahman is Abhaya. That comes from the great power which is manifesting. These are the transforming or the driving forces in society for its development and prosperity. Next one. So I'll end with two quotes of my favorite scientist and philosopher. Einstein said, he was not a believer in God in that sense, but he said, my religion consists of a humble adoration of an illimitable intelligence which our dull faculties can comprehend only in the most primitive form. There's one more interesting quote, with which I end. The most profound and the most sublime experience that one can have is a sensation of the mystical. It is truly the source of all science. A person who is a stranger to this emotion, who can no longer marvel and wonder and wrap awe, is as good as dead. To know what is impenetrable really exists, manifesting itself as the highest wisdom and the most radiant beauty, Satyam, Sundaram, Shivam, that our dull faculties can comprehend only the most primitive forms. It is this knowledge, this realization that constitutes true spirituality. This cosmic, religious, and mystical consciousness is the noblest mainspring of all scientific research. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you very much, Swamiji, for your wonderful, and I should call it a mesmerizing talk to all of us. It's really it's great to listen to you from second to second. We cannot miss any second. So you explained the four different forces that drive the human being for their development in science and philosophy. And also how you explained that how we are interdependent, and if we hate one to each other, then we hate ourselves and we destroy ourselves. And you also connected that if we pollute our air, if we destroy our environment, that is meaning that we are destroying ourselves and our future generations. So it was really great to listen to you, Swamiji, and we are very, very thankful to you for your time. So now it's time for the address by the President, Dr. Deviating, Director of National Research Institute. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kutub. Reverend Swami Atmapiyananda Maharaj, the August gathering on this virtual platform, senior officials from ICAR headquarters, my colleagues of National Rice Research Institute and other institutions, ladies and gentlemen. It was indeed my great privilege to listen to Swami Atmapiyananda Maharaj on the topic, scientific principles with philosophical underpinnings relevant to societal development, which is very relevant to today's social situation where the society normally looks at science and philosophical foundation of society in different perspectives and might be somewhat confused about the integral linkages that complement each other. This complementation makes science and technology the fundamental pillar of modern contemporary society. As you all know, science is the greatest collective endeavor. It has a specific role as well as a variety of functions for the benefit of our society, creating new knowledge, improving education, and increasing the quality of lives. Thus, science responds to the social needs and global challenges. The linkages have been clearly elaborated by Swami Atmapiyananda Maharaj Ji very lucidly, which otherwise would have remained cryptic unless a learned personality like him unveils the treasure of knowledge. So we are really grateful, Maharaj Ji, to you for kindly accepting our invitation despite your very busy schedule of service to the Almighty through service to the mankind. To my understanding, the whole audience is mesmerized with the new vistas of knowledge, which I am sure have radiated thought-provoking environment and have ignited new judgments among us. I think we all need to take some time of our own to absorb what we have learned for proper understanding. So I should stop here to keep the vibration on. Thank you very much, Swami Atmapiyananda Maharaj Ji. Please accept our regards and thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your address. Now it's time for vote of thanks, formal vote of thanks by Dr. Navonita Boshak. Navonita, over to you.
Thank you, Kutubda. It is indeed a great privilege to propose the formal vote of thanks today. I would like to thank Swami Atmapriyananda Ji for the very insightful talk. It is indeed a rare opportunity for us to listen to such thought-provoking lecture. We are immensely grateful to you, Swami Ji, for being with us today and guiding us on the most fundamental basis of unity and interconnectedness. We are also grateful to Dr. Deepankar Maiti, Director, NRRI, for his guidance and support. I thank Dr. B.C. Patra, Head, Crop Improvement Division, and Chairman, Platinum Jubilee Lecture Series Organizing Committee, for coordinating the total program. I thank all the distinguished personnel from other ICR institutes for your participation. I also thank all the members of the Platinum Jubilee Celebration Committee for their active support. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the IRIS Cell for their technical support. Thank you all for your attention. Thank you.
There is one deviation from the normal schedule as Swamiji is interested to take some question from the audience. So I think we could do this deviation, Director Sir.
Yes, please go ahead. I initially thought that we may not have a such session. If Swamiji wants, then we can go ahead.
Yeah. So Bishwajit, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question. And it is also for all other audiences. If you want to directly ask question, please raise your hand. Otherwise, you could write your question to the chat box. I would read it out to Swamiji. Thank you.
Maharaj Pranam. I am Dr. Biswajit Mandal. My query is, we human beings, we are using nature's resources very unscrupulously. In turn, nature wants also human society in one or other way. That we have seen and experienced many times. My question is, if we disregard our human values like humanity, ethics, religion, and even if we disregard God also, then through our behavior only, not physical activities, through behavior only, then how we do get punished to run or work in order?
The answer is very simple. We got punished from January to 2020 to March 2021 by the smallest of the small virus called the COVID-19 coronavirus. It is not punishment, it's not the nemesis of nature. You try to exploit nature beyond a point, nature comes back by a simple law of science and gives you a tremendous blow so that we behave. But unfortunately, human beings do not learn. For some time, they will be careful. For some time, they will not exploit. Once again, we will pollute the air, pollute the Ganges, and pollute everything. Once again, we will spoil our bodies by wrong kinds of activities and by habits, by smoke and by wrong food. Again, nature will come back. Body also punishes you. You eat the wrong kind of food, you whole day you vomit and there's so much of stomach problem. Nature again and again warns you. Don't do this, behave properly. I am here only to help. But the greed of man and the selfish desire, unfortunately, completely clouds our wisdom. We are not waking up enough.
Thank you, Maharaj.
So, if anyone have any question, please raise your hand and unmute yourself. So, okay, so I got one question from Dr. Priyabrata Shatra. He is also principal scientist from an ICAR Institute. So his question is, how it is possible to maintain focus on research work in India in the era of several distractions? How to promote good scientific environment, according to you?
It's a very simple answer. Our students keep on asking me how to concentrate. I asked them a counter question. World Cup cricket, India versus Pakistan, last over, 4 balls to go and 6 runs to score. Do you have to tell anybody, please concentrate on the screen, please concentrate on the television? Do you have to tell anybody? You will give up your food, you will give up everything, and then simply like mad you are focused on the screen. Why? Because your heart is simply pulling you there. So Christ said, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa once said, suppose there is an amount of gold in a corner of a room, and on the other side there is a thief, and a small curtain in between, and the thief knows that there is gold on the other side. Do you mean to say he will sleep? Because the urge of earning the gold will simply push him. So if you are very serious about research, if really are passionate about finding out something new and are excited that a new result is coming up, then nobody need tell you, oh, don't get distracted. Why are we getting distracted? Because we want it. Nobody distracts you because you want that, you want to attend to that, and you feel some pleasure out of it. If you find pleasure in research, your whole mind will go to research. It's so simple. What exactly do you find joy in? If you do research only to publish papers and to get promotion, of course it will distract you. But you are passionate about it. Stories of Mary Curie and Einstein, Newton are well known. Newton had called one of his friends for lunch with him, and the friend knew Newton will be absorbed in his lab. He came and saw Newton is so absorbed, didn't disturb him, quietly had his lunch and walked away. And after some time, Newton came back and remembered that he had called his friend. Seeing one plate there, already somebody had eaten, he told himself, oh, I forgot, I had eaten, I totally forgot, went back. These are not stories. If a person is so deeply absorbed, finds joy in it, he will go for it. Unfortunately, Many of us do research not for the joy of research, because it gives us some rewards. Awards and rewards don't mean anything. If you find joy in what you are doing, you'll go after it.
Can I have a question, please?
Okay, please go ahead, sir.
Swamiji, Pranam. I want to ask a question regarding the new education policy now being proposed by the government, and curriculum is being set for that. So, is it not the right time to involve the teachings what today you have taught, like the quest of mind and the teachings which are required to fight the problems of real life, rather than only the breadwinning teachings which is presently taught, and various stress, and the young generation is going into stress, and they are going to suicide also. So is it not the right time to introduce from the beginning, so that the base of the current generation becomes strong for the future hurdles and issues?
See, it all not depends on the policy, but depend on the teacher. You can teach anything in the classroom infused with the philosophy, infused with the basic fundamental principles. To teach a subject, nobody stops you from teaching it in the way you want. I have always taught all the physics. I've been teaching physics for 30 years. Every class is a class in philosophy and physics. Every physical law has a particular philosophy behind it. Talk about the lives of scientists. Talk about the struggle of Newton and Einstein and Niels Bohr and Marie Curie. Talk about how they wept and cried, what are the struggles they went through, and the joy that they got through discovery. So it is life which inspires life. Not because it is in the textbook. Suppose some policy is made, even then, if the teachers don't teach it, then what will you do? And the students also to be exposed to books which elevate them. Not merely textbooks, but so much of knowledge is available now in the internet and everywhere. So always talk to them about elevating principle. It is the responsibility of the scientists and the teachers to be able to do this. No amount of policy will really help. As Swami Vivekananda said beautifully, the greatness of a nation does not consist in the number of bills passed in the parliament, but the quality of its men and women. You may have any number of textbooks and policy books. Documents will be accumulating dust in the libraries. But how do you actually give it to the students? So that the teacher and the scientist himself should be passionate about. The scientist should be passionate about talking about it to people who come to him, and the feeling and the passion that you bring to bear upon science and discovery, that changes people. What you say is right.
One more small query. The present generation is mostly accepting the logical reasoning, because any facts which is told by our scriptures, they start logical reasoning, and if it fits to the logical reasoning, then only they are accepting. So the question arises, like something like there has been experiments on meditating saints. If neurons behave in a different way when they are in a meditative state. So few people tell that, okay, if you find a scientific justification for some aspects, you describe that, okay, spirituality belongs to science, but some of the aspects like the life after death or other things which do not have any scientific explanation. So for that, the spirituality doesn't have any logical answer to the people. So on this respect, what you want to say?
See, I don't know what you mean by science. Nothing in the world has an explanation. No science can explain how a seed grows and becomes a plant. Can you explain it? You are a rice scientist. If you put a grain of seed, how does it grow and become? Nobody knows. There is no science in anything. There is no logic in anything. So what you actually have are certain principles. And just like I can't explain what happens after death, God, etc., no scientist worth his name can explain what is happening in his laboratory. What is the basis of gravitation? Nobody knows. Why is it that the planets roam in the way they do? Nobody knows. Can you tell me why proton is positive and electron is negative? Can any physicist explain this? No. It is that. So, pushing logic beyond a point doesn't help you. That I am existing here, I am talking to you, the human body. Don't go too far. How the human body functions, no scientist, no doctor really knows. Based on certain experimental data, we give some kind of things and leave it to God to cure you, that's all. So the student should be given the scientific temperament to probe deeply and to understand our logic and our reasoning is limited. This is the fundamental basis of science itself. I don't know whether you know about the Gödel's theorem. The Gödel's theorem says there are certain fundamental, basic, true statements which cannot be proved. There's a big blow to mathematical logic. Whitehead and Russell had built up a huge system of formalistic mathematical logic, which was simply smashed by Gödel. Because there are certain things which you can't really prove. Nothing can be proved in the universe. If you have the proof of something, I can't prove God, but you can't really prove how I exist here. What is the proof? Proof is that you are there. So, the limits of reasoning also we should know. Glibly, we say, oh, it can't be proved, it can't be this. Nothing can be proved. I'm seeing you sitting there virtually. What is the proof that you're actually sitting there? There's no proof at all. It may be an illusion. That you're sitting there, it may be an animated movie. So ultimately, nothing in the universe is provable. So the non-provability of the ultimate truth is what makes it beautiful. It happens in science also, particularly in the field of biology, in the field of agriculture. It's a great wonder how things happen. All of your agricultural scientists, the pest management we talk about, the pests, what are they and how they act, nobody knows. How many kinds of discoveries we are trying to do, the smallest of the small viruses and the pests are the most, for example, this termite. Termite is such an amazing phenomenon. You drive it from here, it goes somewhere else. All the great structural engineers are simply flat before the small termite. What is the law? We do not know. Most of the fundamental laws of living we do not know at all. Because in biology, in something which is moving and living, the laws are extremely complex. They are called non-linear. Linearity is something which is somewhat predictable. The unpredictability, the statistical nature, and the probabilistic nature of the entire game of discovery of truths, this is something which baffles us. This is the basis of quantum mechanics. Probability. You can't really say this is this and not that. Why can't you say that this is the law of nature? Nature will not allow you to say anything positive, definite about anything. This is also a proven scientific law. The law of uncertainty, the law of unprovability of anything. So, glibly saying that I don't accept this because it is not scientific. What is science? What do you see? There are 100 things. Has anybody seen the coronavirus? Even now, there's a debate about how it came. One bat, somewhere they say, the bat is transmitted, the whole world is now shaking. This coronavirus is a great example of how the smallest of the small, which is lifeless, suddenly getting life from somewhere and mutating and multiplying million times in microseconds. It is making all your scientists and Nobel laureates completely flat. Hundreds of Nobel laureates in biology and immunology and virology are simply unable to face this challenge of the small virus. And we talk big about science and logic and reason. So man helplessly says, oh God, I don't know what it is, please save me. That's where religion comes in. We are helpless. Reason doesn't take you too far.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. We have two more interesting questions, and then we would finish this meeting. So Dr. Midul Chakraborty, who is a senior scientist from our institute, he asked, if someone does not believe God exists, but honestly perform his duties and goes on path of selfless service for humanity, is his life incomplete?
His life is absolutely complete, provided he believes he exists. The person who is asking this question, God doesn't exist, does he believe I exist? Do you need proof for your existence? Vedanta says, since nobody can say I don't exist, the undeniable, incontrovertible existence of the I is God. And remember, unselfishly, with tremendous feeling, you go about serving others. Your life is complete provided you can withstand the shocks of betrayal, non-recognition, people wrongly accusing you for what you have not done, and you are being tremendously depressed because you have been denied what is really due to you. Can you take it? I asked the questioner, if you can take it with a smile and be happy, then you have conquered it. But it's not easy. Remember, you may serve others. I serve so many people, my wife, my children, my grandchildren, my friends. And after some time you cry, oh, I did so much of help to that fellow. He is now betraying me and he is saying all kinds of vulgar things about me. He is vilifying me and assassinating my character. Can you take it? Then you say, oh God, I don't care what he says. I am taking refuge in you. You need something unchanging. You may not need God. Some unchanging principle you need to be able to give meaning to that which is changing. You can't, sir, do unselfish service unless you believe in something is unchanging. Because you serve somebody, that fellow changes. After 2 days, you will ask more. We see it every day. Directors of institutes know in administration, you try to help everybody and you see people are campaigning against you. People are vilifying you. People are writing against you. See, I did so much for you. Why do I do this? There is no end to human greed and selfishness. You are unselfish, but can you take other selfishness against you? If you can do that with a smile, then for that you need faith in something which is changeless. You call it God, call it anything. Unless you believe there is something which is unchanging, all change will be meaningless. Tomorrow everything changes. So hold on to something which is unchanging, which alone will give me peace. People hold on to their wives and children. You are mine, you are my whole life, you are my prana, etc. After that, he or she walks away from you, then your whole heart sings and you cry. Can you take it? Ask yourself this question.
Thank you, Swamiji. Also, it was a wonderful question, very satisfying to me at least. I don't know to the questioner. But there is another question from Dr. Ashutosh Upadhyay. He's from another ICAR institute. So he asked, what should we do to control our mind, which is deviating every moment? And what are the steps to attain an ultimate happiness?
The answer is very simple. Don't try to control. We start at the wrong end. The nature of the mind is to waver, to go break into waves to completely get confused and go on thinking about so many things. There is the nature. It is just like asking, what should I do to control the waves of the ocean? Waves of the ocean is what make it ocean. Otherwise it will be a river. What is the difference between ocean and a river? Ocean constantly breaks into waves. Nature of the mind is to constantly break into thoughts, good, bad, indifferent. Allow the mind to go on in its own way. Don't change it. Only you don't be affected by it because you are not the mind. If you can realize that the mind and the body constantly change, I am the eternal witness of the mind and the body, allow things to go on changing, I just don't care. The easiest solution is to find happiness, is to know that your mind and the body, controlled by nature, controlled by your previous various tendencies and samskaras, let them do what they like. Just like your body and the mind, I don't try to control. Why do you control my body and mind? Because you think it's my body, my mind. So remove this mind, this body and mind, let them do what they like. You be the eternal witness. Swami Vivekananda beautifully wrote in a letter, clouds of happiness and misery pass over me. I am the beautiful blue sky. The sky does not weep because suddenly a black cloud passes over it or a white cloud passes over it. Quite simply remains. So be like the eternal, infinite witness, unchanging, eternal, and all the time peaceful and joyful. So don't try to control the mind. Allow the mind to go do what it likes. But you are not the mind, see a witness. Swami Vivekananda also gave a beautiful story. A mosquito was sitting in the horn of a bull and biting it. The bull, after a long time, he said, "Oh, you are here." The mosquito said, "I'm sorry, I will leave you. I've been troubling you for too long." Then the bull smiled and said, "You come with your whole family and sit for the whole life, settle down on my horn. What can you do to me?" So troubles will come, miseries will come, good and bad will come, joys and sorrows will come. Let them come. I am that infinite blue sky. What can you do to me? There is one story of an actress in Paris. Her name was Emma Calvé. She was a great celebrity in those days. And as you know, celebrities are the most lonely and most miserable. She was terribly suffering and she was frustrated, depressed, almost to the point of committing suicide. Somebody told her, go and meet this Swami Vivekananda, great Indian yogi. She went there. Swamiji did not even look at her. Started talking about so many things about our private life. She started crying. Swami, how did you know all this? Did anybody talk to you about me? Swamiji smiled and said, is it necessary? I can see you like an open book, read you like an open book. Then he gave her a spiritual impulse. You are that infinite. You are that vast. Don't brood over your secret sorrow. Come out of it and realize your real nature of the vast, infinite, changeless. So the power of the spiritual thought of this great man transformed her so much she was about to get into a spiritual consciousness. Then she got utterly afraid, as if she is going to die. Oh, Swami, what are you doing to me? I am losing myself. Then Swamiji smiled and said, told a story with which I'll end today. He said, a water drop was falling into the ocean. This water drop was crying. Then the ocean said, why are you crying, my child? Then the water drop said, you see, I am losing my individuality as the drop. I have become one with the ocean and lose myself. The ocean smiled and said, you my child, you are not losing your individuality as the drop. You are regaining your individuality as the ocean. You are the ocean. The heat of the sun took you up. and you are coming back to me as a drop, joining the billions and trillions of water drops like you. So your real individuality is infinite and vast. If you can remember this, think about this, practice it in daily life, our lives will be full of joy. And this is meditation. Meditation is not closing your eyes and dozing off, as we normally do. But meditation is realizing, thinking, practicing that you are the vast, infinite. At every point of life, when trouble comes, when misery comes, when joy comes, when sorrow comes, remember you are that infinite blue sky. You are the horn of a bull which can't be bitten by a mosquito. And you are the infinite ocean which is vast, whose intensity and extensity cannot be measured. You are the immeasurable, infinite vast. Thank you so much.
Namaskar, Swamiji. Thank you very much for your insights and for everything. I think we have taken a good decision to go for question and answer. So it was really enriching. Swamiji, we will be again contacting you in future in a good occasion.
So thanks for your patience.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, Maharaj.